Welcome to Just Great Movies for a Tuesday night. Tonight we're talking 1976, Logan's Run, a film that at the time cost $8 million to make. Even back in 1976, films were extortionately expensive to produce. And in fact, just having a quick look, that $8 million from 1976 is now worth a staggering $45.1 million. The upshoot is that the film made $25 million back at the box office. And in today's money, that's $141.2 million. So that's not too bad. On the stream tonight is the oldest gamer, Anista Phobos. Hail to everybody in the chat. Let me know what you're up to in the chat, by the way. It'd be great to interact with you. And if you didn't know, and if you just joined us tonight on Just Great Movies, we're doing Logan's Run. Hey, old chat, get chatting. Just having a quick look in the chat. Franco Walker's there. Hello, mate. Manuel Grill, Destron Solar. Also, Kal-El's Harem. Oh, that's you.
Me.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds rather good. I don't fancy being a recipient of Kal-El's love thrusts. Badfoot's in the chat too. We'll catch up with all you guys shortly and find out what's happening. But tonight we're just going to get straight into it. And Wayfarer was supposed to be joining us tonight too, but unfortunately, due to technical circumstances, he can't be with us. Now, this is quite an interesting setup for this movie. Sometime in the 23rd century, the survivors of war, overpopulation, and pollution are living in a great domed city sealed away from the forgotten world outside. Here, in an ecologically balanced world, mankind lives only for pleasure. This is true. As we get to find out sooner or later, Logan's lucky chap. He lives in a world where he can fuck when he wants, when he can drink when he wants, when he can do. People are doing drugs and everything. So basically, mankind's freed by the servo mechanisms which provide everything. It's a bit like Zion from The Matrix. There's just one catch, though. Life must end at 30 unless reborn in the fiery ritual of carousel. Do you renew? I don't know. Do you renew? Gamer, do you renew?
I don't think I do renew. I think I become a runner.
What about you, Istophobos? Do you renew?
It looks suspiciously like a scam to me.
It's bullshit. Smells like bullshit, looks like bullshit. Hey, it's bullshit. Hello to Gap After Dark in the chat too. Also, Melvin's in the chat as well. And Wrenchers, just be aware, we might be in for some fun and games tonight. I've been told a story, and I'm hoping it's not going to be true, but you never know. So the movie starts, obviously, with the title, Logan's Run, based on a story from 1967. This film was optioned really early on. And do you know, it took them like multiple rewrites to try and get something which would be good on screen. The original story actually called Last Day on the 21st birthday. So they extended it somewhat to 30. And, they made a few things a bit more plausible for the story. And I got trapped in a rabbit hole of where the location of the geodesic domes were. A lot of people saying they're on the east coast of America. A couple of people saying that they were in Delaware. But if you think about it, later on in the film, I've looked at this extensively on Google Maps today. They come into Washington, D.C., and it doesn't show you him getting across the Chesapeake, if anybody notices that. But they're in that little pool thing near the Washington Monument. And then they later go up to is it the House of Congress, guys?
Yeah, you go to Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called the mall, the Washington Mall, where the pool is, by the way.
Right. Well, if if it were in England and it was Big Ben and Westminster, I know the score. Then, you know what I mean? So anyway, these are the geodesic domes located who knows where. A lot of people saying lots of really crazy things online, but hey,
I think it's like it's Virginia or North Carolina, quite frankly.
Well, if you think about it, when they get out, they come out of the side of a mountain, and at this part of the film, there aren't actually any mountain ranges evident. So, are they coming out in Appalachia somewhere? But then again,
you've got guess. Yeah, foothills of Appalachia.
You've got some debate about where exactly is the beach and the sea, because this whole complex is powered by seawater. So a lot of people saying the nearest beach to this is in Delaware. Slaughter Beach, apparently, if anybody wants to look that up and add your opinion into the chat, that'd be quite interesting. So anyway, mankind lives inside these domes. And we get a nice little glimpse. Istophobos actually sent me some photos, so we'll have a look at those a little bit later on. Quite an impressive set, to be fair. And that's not bad. I mean, fair enough. The only thing what lets this scene down is the water, because you can tell it isn't really a large body of water. You know,
it's not a it's not a bad effort though.
Oh yeah,
with the scaling and then with the transport tubes and everything. I was reading that the structures, they built them like 3 to 4 feet high to allow for the visual effect of distance. So yeah, but you're right. The water is like, but for 1976 and the budget you were talking about, that they pulled off quite a bit for $8 million.
Oh yeah, the set is really impressive.
The funny thing is they knew how to make the water look real, which is you shoot it with high-speed cameras, and on the playback, you speed everything up. That's the same method they do in the Naval Testing Center, where they test miniature boats that they're going to build for the Navy. And when they speed up the film, the water, it looks exactly like crashing waves. It becomes scale. But they would have had to really slow down all the miniatures and the moving props.
Yeah,
for this.
Everything would have been ratioed accordingly, and to make it look like it's it's actually the part. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you notice there on that building on the far right, if you look, do you remember when holographic transfers and the like was very popular in the mid to late 70s? That building is actually covered in that stuff. And there's extensive use of holograms from back in the day. So the film opens up after we get this little vista of the inside of the dome. And it's in what they call nursery. Not the nursery, but nursery. And a baby's born, and it has a life clock in the palm of its hand already. So it doesn't actually show you them being fitted or anything. So whether it's a genetic manipulation that these things are actually, in your hand from conception. Wouldn't that be crazy? That's some weird tech right there.
I think genetic manipulation makes some sense because you have a closed population inside the dome, so you're going to have to account for that. And you'll get to it later on where they haven't seen their parents. So I think there has to be some genetic manipulation going on.
Gap After Dark says that's a baby, Trev. Really? I'm glad somebody told me. Anyway, we'll catch up with the chat in just a bit. So this is Logan 5 and Francis 7, played by Richard Jordan and Michael York. Look at Michael York there, a young Basil. And these guys are Sandmen. They're basically police. They're the Judge Dredd of this world. They are the judge, jury, and executioner. And they basically catch runners, people who try and escape the carousel. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Well, these guys are given an omnipotent existence and lifestyle within this realm because, they're like the police, but more. So anyway, Francis and Logan are off to Carousel. And now this is obviously a nightly thing because there's a birthday every day. So as soon as you turn 30 in this world, you have to renew. You have to take part in the carousel. Now, if you try and avoid the carousel, right, these guys come into play. These catch what are called the runners. And anybody who tries to avoid carousel, obviously they're fair game. They have to be terminated. And it's just basically a system of control and a way of balancing things within inside this so-called utopia. But it's not really a utopian society at all. It's actually quite vicious if you think about it. But at least they're given 9 more years in the movie as opposed to the book where at 21 you're basically bumped off. And that guy in between Francis and Logan, wow, he's sex on legs.
Is he?
It's important to note that there are only 2 actors that were actually under 30 during the making of this film, and that was Ginny and Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, Jenny Agutter was 24. I don't know how old Farrah Fawcett Majors was at the time.
She was 29.
Ah. Well, almost time for the carousel forum, to be fair.
Yeah, well, she was relatively unknown, and Michael York saw her on a tennis court and thought she was really hot and said, let's cast her in this movie.
Well,
and I think she married Lee Majors during the filming or the run of the movie.
Yeah, she's actually credited as Fawcett Majors, isn't she?
Yeah.
Did you know that he's been seen with Farrah? Lee Majors. It's true he eyes his body out for pay. Hey. I'm here all week, guys. So this is the carousel chamber. And weirdly enough, everything looks like it's inside a giant mall, and there's a reason for that. There was a mall in Fort Worth, Texas, where they did these scenes. In fact, the shooting locations are all over America. There's some in California. There's some in Texas. There were even a few shots, like the outside shots, filmed in Colorado as well. So quite an expansive production, and an expensive one too. So anyway, all these people are Capricorn 16. Be strong and you'll renew in the carousel. So all these people here have just turned, this is the 30th birthday. What a treat. You're 30. This is how you go out, with a bang, but not the kind of bang you want to go out with. And so they have to be renewed. And they show the life clocks, and some are flashing, some are not. Obviously, you've got to take the screenshot at the right time. At least I got one in there. And these figures look quite scary and ominous at first glance.
Yeah, I was a little creeped out in the theater. And I also, there's nothing about them going up in the air and bursting into flames that would make me think, reincarnation. It just looks like a fiery death.
And, well, as we come to know eventually, when the veil is lifted by the city computer, that's all it is. You're dead. You're dead. You're dog meat, pal. So, Francis,
they could make it look a little more convincing.
Thing is, though, if you've grown up in a society where you're utterly convinced that this is what happens, and it happens for a reason, and it's a good thing, you're gonna roll with it, aren't you? Because they've been indoctrinated for generations to believe this shit.
Absolutely. There's no reason for them. I mean, you'll probably get to it where Logan starts questioning things a little, but if this is a nightly occurrence, like I say, generations have gone by. This is just
this is the prime time entertainment. Apart from screwing and doing drugs and drinking, this is like your prime time TV.
Yeah, and to be fair, they've never really seen a normal fiery death because, they don't have action movies, or people typically aren't getting blown up. So,
what I found interesting is when they unveil when they remove the hoods and you see the scary masks, and they are scary. The crowd kind of goes, "Oh." But if this is a nightly occurrence, you would think they would almost be desensitized to it. Like if you're going to the Roman Colosseum, are you really terrified that you see a lion roll out of the pit to take on, whoever the victim
and
of the day
something?
is?
The irony here is that people are actually watching mass murder, and it's seen as entertainment, like you're saying, gladiatorial almost. People's deaths provide entertainment.
Exactly.
And if I were to quote any song here, it'd be Bon Jovi's Blaze of Glory. Because look at that. What a way to go.
Now, in the original cut of this film, you can see the wires that they were suspended on. But on the remaster, they did a good job of cleaning that up.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I've got the version with all the wires, but it was still fun. I know the nature of the beast. It is what it is. But look at these people. They're absolutely in the eye holes. They love this shit. Look at them. It's like, renew. Crikey.
It doesn't look like there's enough people there to represent the total population of the dome. But they act like every single person goes to see Carousel. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that.
Maybe they're a victim of their own success. Maybe they're running out of people. But these in the storyline, these people, the reason why they're screwing so much is because they're repopulating the city. Who knew? Anyway, Logan gets a buzz on his fancy walkie-talkie. There's a runner in the Great Hall, entrance west, because the computer system knows where every life clock is within the dome. So they basically, Francis and Logan start taunting this guy. They're really quite cruel, but they're enjoying it. I mean, this guy does not look 30, for Christ's sake. He looked at 40, yes. I'd say 40 easy, but no. No way is this guy just turned 30. That's bullshit. But,
yeah,
go on.
The original movie opened up with Francis hunting down a runner, but they cut that for time and violence. There were a lot of really excellent scenes that never made it into the theatrical cut.
Methinks I need the Blu-ray cut, to be fair.
Yeah, and it shows just how kind of cruel and sadistic that Francis was, and how the people, onlookers, cheered, as he's messing with the guy.
Mel's come out with a good one in the chat. We'll catch up with you guys in the chat when I get through this first batch of slides. But look at that. The sadistic joy in Francis's eyes there. He's loving this.
Do you know who was originally supposed to play him?
I do not know.
Devane.
William
Really?
Devane. Yep.
He's got the teeth for it.
Yeah, in the production hell, he ended up bailing and doing a Hitchcock movie because this movie... It's a miracle it got made at all, like many of the great films.
Well, he was lucky. He only had another 7 years to wait for Knots Landing.
Well, that's Duncan, Idaho from the David Lynch Dune.
It is. The original, the best one. It would have been interesting to see the one that was in production hell before Lynch's, but I think Lynch nailed it perfectly.
Yeah, he's looking a little more crazy.
Bullshit. Yeah, but look at this guy. He's crapping it. He's not wearing red, and he decides to take a powder. He takes a dive for the team. And the weird thing is, the carousel carries on regardless, and everybody's just not, they're that focused on the carousel. Just look at them. They're all into it. So Logan reports this, and interestingly enough, at the end of Carousel, you see something interesting. I want to point it out because it has a reference to another film shortly. But this guy, they check his face against the virtual APB out on him, and he's got a different face. But in this society, people are that whimsical. They can change the way they look. They have a thing called New You, which is like not putting pressure on people to fit into a set, box. Let's see. On the chat, Gap says, deleted scenes including a love shop sequence and a scene with Box creating ice sculptures were lost during a studio archive purge. Gotta hate those bean counters for doing that.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, female silver usurper says, just because your government says it doesn't make it true, plebs are dumb. A little bit, yeah. Something me and Wayfarer touched on earlier. The film score was composed by Jerry Goldsmith, true. Known for his work on other science fiction and fantasy films like Star Trek, the motion picture, amongst other things. That's a great score. I'm hoping gamers only having technical difficulties and will be back with us before anybody notices.
Oh. Yeah, there are some of us who consider Jerry Goldsmith the greatest film composer of all time, even more so than John Williams.
Yeah, John Williams, I think, was right place at the right time with regards to his career. I mean, I'm not knocking the Star Wars stuff, but, when it comes to things, I think Jerry Goldsmith was the Swiss Army knife of musical scores. He could do a musical score for any film out there. And, he got James Horner nipping at his heels.
Yeah, he was more versatile. Like, I consider them both, amongst the greatest. So you're really splitting hairs. But I think Goldsmith had a little more versatility in both the instrumentation and the genres of music that he could create. Williams was much more traditional classical music guy.
Yeah, definitely. MC says drinking, sex, then death. It could be worse. Yeah, hangover.
Now, in the book, this book was written really, I forget, was it like 57 or
67,
63?
1967.
So in the book, their guns were incredibly advanced. They could select different types of ammo. They were almost made out of nanobots before the term nanobot was even coined. And you could have explosive rounds. You could have a round that shot out metal tendrils throughout the body and sort of tortured the victim. It's pretty hideous. But the movie deviates quite extraordinarily from the book, though. So if you go read it, you're going to get an almost completely different story with some related themes.
Yeah, I read the book as a kid. That was my motivation for seeing the film in 1976. And you're right, it deviates quite a bit.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they've got to Hollywoodize it, haven't they, and make it more mass appeal so they can get more asses on seats in the cinemas.
Well, I mean, raising the age to 30 actually does make sense from a logic standpoint. From 21 to 30.
Yeah. And they didn't live in a dome city in the book, but I think theatrically it really works. But they went through several writers and versions, and the original producer was demanding almost daily rewrites. And
just to be rude and interrupt you, I have to agree with Gavin Blackburn here. I'd repopulate the city with Jenny Agutter. Me too. Me too. She's gorgeous in this.
I don't know if you mentioned this. This movie was run past Irwin Allen before he took a pass on it. The rights lapsed, and that's how we get with the people that actually made the film.
Franco comes out with a controversial comment here. The series is just as good as the film, in his opinion.
No.
I don't know. No.
No, there's no television series.
No. Especially with that android who looks suspiciously like somebody I saw in the Antarctic once.
Yeah, no.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to so I'm trying to remember. It was something Powell was the original producer before it went to Saul David and Stanley Greenberg, and then it went over to director Michael Anderson, and David Goodman wrote the final script. But it really bounced around a while.
Yeah, production hell, as do all films. They all go through that milling process. Sword in the Storm says he changed his face and that's what he chose. Yeah, I know. Stupid.
So did you know originally they planned to make this in 1969 with Robert Redford? And in this version, they intended to cast John Voight as Logan and Lindsay Wagner as Jessica. Personally, I'm going to have to go with Jenny, man. I think I had a crush on her for about 2 decades after this movie.
Yeah, but the Bionic Woman, though, Jamie Summers, I was hot for her back in the 70s.
Yeah, but she sort of lacks the sort of innocent naivety and beauty, I think, of
true.
Jenny
I do agree with you there.
Agutter. There's just something hauntingly gorgeous about her. I don't know.
Ooh. Gap says William F. Nolan even also did some Logan's Run comic books, and they're also in the audio series of those books on CD. Do you know that is well worth checking out?
Yeah, George Perez drew the comics. He was the guy that did Teen Titans. I mean, he's actually an incredibly famous comic book artist, but he was probably best known for the Teen Titans, the new Teen Titans.
Yeah. George Powell, Gavin says in the chat. Franco says, Jenny went full frontal in American Werewolf in London. Well, we do get to see a bit of TNA, albeit tastefully.
She hated that costume, and she made sure to let everybody know during the entire filming.
Yeah, I guess, actresses and actresses and stuff, they get to be a little bit prima donna-ish from time to time.
Well, the thing is, the movie that she was completely naked in the movie she did that sort of her first movie, it was an Australian production called Walkabout.
Walkabout, yeah.
So I don't think it was the nudity. I think it was something about the costume that annoyed her. I could never find out what it was.
Yeah, I didn't like Walkabout. I found that a really tedious film to watch, to be fair.
And technically, I'm not even sure it might be criminal to watch it these days.
Well, yeah. Anyway, ident affirm new view number 483 face change. Yeah, like was mentioned in the chat. You know, you go in for a facelift and a new face, and you pick that fucker. Jesus, you poor bastard. So anyway, Logan's basically rifling through this guy's corpse and taking stuff in for evidence. And he picks out one of those funky 70s, like Christian cross things called a onk. I didn't actually know it was called a onk until I watched this film, me not being religious. But this is quite interesting. I got, AVP, I see where they got this from now. You know, where the hunter predator comes down to Earth and he pours that blue juice on things and it all melts away.
Yeah.
This is just that, because these guys come on these little hover things and they spray this guy and he basically turns into a TV dinner.
Now, the Ankh is in it. The Ankh is an Egyptian symbol, so I guess I used to read about the pyramids. I don't know. To me, it wasn't a religious symbol. It was just a hieroglyphic kind of thing.
Really? It looks very much like a crucifix, though. You got to give it that.
Yeah, well, that might not be coincidental, but it predates the crucifix by many hundreds of years.
Right. In the future, and I'm loving this, Logan gets to relax in the evenings. Obviously, he leads a very decadent lifestyle, being the man, because he is a G-man, basically. But in the future, you get to tune into Shago Vision, which basically means you can fly around the channels, and if there's somebody you want to screw, you just click a button and away you go. It's like QVC, but for shagging. Anyway.
Yeah, it's called the circuit. You can also put yourself on there
and
do a little roulette.
Yeah, but look, unlucky bastard. First pick he gets. It's a guy. Hey, it's the 70s, man. It's whatever happens on Arcturus, man. Except the one you had was a male.
And Pedro Pascal is signing up for the remake right away.
Shut up, there's no remake. Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare say that. So anyway, he clicks again and he gets this rather dashing young lady. This is Jessica. I forgot her number. It's Jessica 6, isn't it?
6, yes.
Yeah. Played by Jenny Agutter, a lovely English rose. She was only 24 during the making of this film. And if you notice, she starts off really cute and a little bit naive, shall we say. And obviously she goes through some rough shit during the course of the film. And her looks change drastically. She becomes more and more au naturel. Before you know it, within 3 months, she'll have hairy armpits too. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So she's a bit like, hang on a minute, you picked me. And she's wearing an onk. Yeah, she's wearing that, the sanctuary. We'll call it the sanctuary symbol because onk's just fucking ridiculous, to be fair. So anyway, Logan's basically trying to chat her up, saying, I'm a Sandman, baby. Hey. He gets a bit all. He's got a shag pad.
Now
come on.
Look at the ankh she's wearing. Now imagine a little gray space alien with a big head.
True.
And there are people that think aliens visited Egyptians. Just saying.
Well, there are hieroglyphs from all kinds of cultures from way back that all feature these face aliens holding a what we call a handbag, but they call them purses too. If anything, if you do some DIY, ad hoc DIY, that would make a great flat blade screwdriver. Do you guys call them slotted screwdrivers, don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
we say flatheads too.
Pinch. Oh, that's all right. Logan's basically like, you can screw me. I'm a Sandman. And she's like, whatever. So Francis turns up with a couple of chicks and she's not impressed. So she takes a powder, basically. But in that little bottle in that girl on the left's hand, she looks awfully familiar. Who was the girl who was in V? She played, she became Miss Fitness in America. She looks a bit like her. Oh God,
Miss Fitness.
Yeah. Oh crikey, she was in
the
V.
blonde.
Yeah, on the left. I know how to find out who that is. Oh, shit, I can't actually. I'll tell you, she was dating for a while.
Are you saying Jane, not Jane Badler? It's Faye Grant.
No, it's not Faye Grant either.
No.
She was living with Marjo Thingamabob for God knows how long. Oh, I can't remember his last name now. I'm doing well. I start going off on a tangent.
You're talking about the original V? Like
yeah. It might be the final battle, actually. She's one of Martin's assistants, and she takes that pill and helps him infiltrate the lead mothership. I'm just looking now.
She looks a little like Priscilla Barnes, not Denise Gallick.
I will get to it. I know the exact episode that she was in on another show because I've been watching it quite intently. Oh God, come on. There we go. I shall tell you who I think that is, and I bet it's not, because I'm always fucking wrong.
Well, when you say fitness guru, I think Richard Simmons, and that definitely ain't
she
Richard
wasn't
Simmons.
a fitness guru per se. Oh, come on.
She's also high as balls and
carrying
drugs.
Oh, Greta Blackburn. That's who I thought it was. I wonder if she's uncredited in this.
I never would have got that.
Yeah. Oh, crikey. I can't find it. Anyway, I'm taking too much fucking time. So, moving on. That stuff in that vial gets chucked up at the ceiling. But Jessica's, like I say, she's about to do one. It's weird. Jenny Agutter, in some scenes, she looks really hot, and some she looks like borderline a little bit. I don't know. She's one of those, you have to catch her in the right frame, I guess. And look at the state of her feet. Dirty bitch. I don't mean that, Jenny Agutter. I think you're lovely. But never mind. And so this stuff goes up on the ceiling, and it's shag dust. And they're all basically, it's going to turn into like a Danish movie from the 70s.
Yeah, I think when he throws it to the ceiling, doesn't he call it a dust ball? I mean, it's that generic. I was playing it back and I couldn't understand what he was saying.
But if you look, when he does that, the look on his face, it's like he's tripping balls.
Yeah.
So anyway, next day, Hall of Justice, if you can call it that. This is where the central computer is located for the entire facility. Now, this guy complains about being cut up by a cub. We'll find out what a cub is a little bit later on. They're kind of like feral urchins. With there being no parents, it seems like some of these kids are just left to their own devices. They can all read. They're not illiterate or anything. This is the weird thing.
Well, they're the ones they couldn't conform to the society, and they
turn violent.
They run off, yeah. And I don't know if it's the right time to talk. If they have a special drug they take, that might be more appropriate later. But yeah, they're not part of the sort of normal trajectory of citizenhood here.
Oh yeah, they're not the kind of citizens they really want. Interestingly enough, in this scene, the Sandman on the far right says, I'm going to go off to New You. And, he says, maybe you should too, Logan. He says, yeah, I might do. So him and Francis go into this computer area. And that guy in the middle, he just looks like some goofball watching Saturday morning cartoons. Look on his face. But they get to watch a runner being taken out in real time on this screen. So everybody that has a live clock, they can all be traced and tracked. Nothing like Big Brother. So Francis puts how can I put it? The fruits of his labor, and that's evidence from runners, into this computer, and it scans them all and then eradicates them. And when it comes to Logan's turn, he puts all his bits and bobs in, and there's that onk. And the computer seems quite interested and takes quite a shine to Logan in a sort of computer way. And the computer says, approach and identify, and starts to interrogate him. And this is procedure 033-03, which is a bit like Special Order 937, but not quite as ruthless, I guess.
This computer has no bedside manner. I have to say. It's really shitty.
The voice of the computer, I know the voice is quite sexy, but the actress who plays her is Lara Lindsay, and she's actually in this film. We get to see her a little bit later on, and I'll point her out to you.
Yeah, she's at the end.
No. She's not at the end.
Oh, I thought she. Okay, I thought she's the old man. All right.
Nah. Anyway, so Ankh, or that, is tied to a word called sanctuary, which is a what did she call it? Pre-disaster code word.
Pre-cataclysm.
That's it. And it was an ism of some variety.
Yeah, I just want to note, as somebody old enough to have seen this when it came out in the theaters, this was incredibly cool. It did not look dated. It was, this was the last big sci-fi film before Star Wars changed everyone's expectations. So, man, when he was in here, this was just fantastic.
Oh, there's a great comment in the chat. Paul Dickinson says, "That is beef in oyster sauce."
You want number two? He's number two.
Hey, none of that here. Well, we'll have no racism on this channel. So anyway, the computer starts interrogating Logan. It's Lara Lindsay, the voice of the computer, uncredited. But she is actually in the film, and I'll point her out, like I said I would, a little bit later on. So anyway, the computer starts drilling through, and then it accidentally lets slip by saying that there's 1,056 unaccounted runners. And he starts saying they didn't renew. And the computer accidentally lifts the veil on what really happens.
Well, indirectly, the question's been answered.
Yeah, do you think it was accidentally?
Yeah, I think the computer it was following a set procedure. It was running a protocol. So it didn't realize what it was saying to Logan, because it was going to make him expendable. He was a twofer. One, he's going to bring down Sanctuary, and he's also going to, 90% chance of losing his life. So he starts questioning the computer. And it reduces his life clock. I mean, he's what is he? Red 6 or something? Did he say? It's something like that.
It took the last 4 years of his life to make the clock blink.
So it made him. The computer made him last day, which in terms of this film, if you're deemed last day, you're pretty much screwed. I think I'll leave us on this view for a little while. So his life clock goes to flashing red, so he's a bit screwed. So this is retrogram. It's reprogramming his life clock. Retrogram complete. And he keeps saying, "Oh, do I get my years back? Do I get my time back? If I do this, do I get..." And it just cuts him off. Does not answer him in any shape, way, or form. So he walks out of the computer center, which we'll call it, and he goes to ask Francis if he'd actually met anybody who'd actually renewed. So his old world view has been shattered by the computer that's there to protect his worldview. So, like, Francis is like, "You're off your tits, man." He said, "You're talking shit. I think you need to chill out, mate. Let's go and do some drugs, have some drinks, and screw some chicks." That's basically his whole outlook on life.
The thing is, Francis has known him their whole life. He knows how old he is. So when he becomes a runner, it doesn't make sense that Francis would just up and straight go after him.
Yeah, but Francis is driven by the betrayal of his best friend.
Yeah.
That is his fuel. That is his motivation. That's why he wants to bring Logan back. He doesn't want to lose his best friend.
Because we'll see what happens when it makes him do that later on here.
Yeah. So anyway, he manages to get Jessica back. And I suppose you wanted to pick me out of all the chicks in this city. You've come to me. And he says, "Yeah, maybe. You never know. Find out more. Stick around." And then he starts explaining to her that he wants to run. And as everybody knows, no Sandman's ever run. So she goes to have a chat with her friends in it's like a food court at a mall.
You know where this is?
Yeah.
This is the
Texas.
hotel in Houston.
Yeah.
This is the not the Hyatt. What is it?
It is the Hyatt Regency.
It's the Hyatt Regency. I've actually stayed at this hotel. Yeah, this is exactly how it looks. I mean, they threw in the chairs and everything, but yeah, that's the lobby of the hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, and the exterior
bastard.
is the Dallas Market.
Mm-hmm.
The Dallas Market Center was the exterior. They're all over Texas.
Yeah,
and they use the Fort Worth Water Gardens for the fountain and waterfall scenes.
Hmm.
But I've been to that hotel too. It's amazing how futuristic it looked back in the day.
If I call you both jammy bastards, that's a good thing in England.
Oh,
Means
good.
you're very lucky.
What does jammy mean?
Means
Like
you lucky
pajamas?
son of a bitch.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. It's
I
just
thought it meant
one of those
somebody
things we say.
wearing pajamas, which
And their clothing's all color coded as well to the point in life where they are. That little girl's wearing yellow, so anybody up to 10 wears yellow. Is it up to 10? No, I think that might be wrong actually.
I think it's 14 or 13, and then you go to green.
Yeah, and then you end up at red, don't you? Your last few years.
I think it was 7, 7, and 7, but remember it was originally 21. Yeah. They had 3.
That's right. So I would have thought logically it'd be 10, 10, and man, that doesn't work either, does it? Yes, actually it does. But never mind. We're arguing over maybes and what ifs. So Logan's looking on to see if he's going to get some help here. Because I think at this point he's genuinely starting to shit his pants. So Jessica has a chat with her mates on the Sanctuary Underground. And this guy here, he's like, you take him so-and-so, we'll follow you, we'll be your backup, don't react to us. If you see us, just walk on by. In profile, he looks like the famous keyboard guy, Patrick Cowley, which is a bit bizarre. So anyway, she's going to tell Logan exactly what he wants to hear. And this is weird. I can't quite figure out whether Jenny Agutter's actually got blue eyes or green eyes, because they look more green than anything.
She has green eyes. They're a little hazel.
I was going to say hazel.
Yeah. Oh, the word is 0 through 6 is blue. Yellow is 7 to 13. And green 14 to 20. And then red.
Ah, now you know. So Logan decides to go after a runner. And Jessica accompanies him. And then these two guys start tailing them both. But they've been told, don't react to us if you see us. And then we get a nice view of one of these great sets. They really are well made.
Did you know that these cityscapes and models were reused? For Mork and Mindy. Yeah, for Mork and Mindy. And so the movie Ice Pirates, which was kind of a cute little low budget thing in the 80s with Robert Urich. But the outside was Mork and Mindy, but they used a color filter. And in the TNG episode Tapestry, it was the view outside of Picard's dorm window.
Really? I'll have to check that out. Paul Dickinson says, are you trying to tell us that you look at her eyes? Well, yeah. You could tell at this point, Jessica's starting to get a bit tingly down below for Logan, I think. So anyway, they end up in the Cathedral District. Yeah, again, this is another one of these scenes where Jessica, she's got that humble naivety about her, which wears off as the film progresses.
Right. You remember when you said she was really naive? One of the deleted scenes is them at the table talking about how they're going to kill Logan. And you can tell from the beginning, she believes them. It's a much more extensive. I'm sorry they cut it because it made a lot more sense and developed.
Yeah, it's a shame when they do cuts like that, you lose context. And I think sometimes a film, despite running time, needs that context. And this is why Suits spoil good films. Still a good film, though. So anyway, here's a pack of these cubs in the Cathedral District. And this is that little bastard who caught that Sandman earlier. And he's a hard shit until he gets a gun pointed at him. Logan's like, yeah, you think you're big? You think you're big? And this is quite cool because the look on Jessica's face, she's like actually quite convincing. Looks like she needs to take a dump.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy here, I don't know who he is, but he wants shooting. Gary Morgan, apparently.
The reason they're so afraid of these kids is they take a drug called muscle, which was developed for the military earlier on in the society, and it gives you super speed, super strength. But once you're over 14 or 15, it just gives you a heart attack. So
Really?
adults can't take it, but it makes the kids extremely formidable and dangerous. Which
It's a shame this little bastard isn't 15 then.
It's why they leave them alone.
Anyway, interesting fact here. This is Lara Lindsay, the voice of the city computer. And she plays a runner. And she's 30 at this point. In real life, she was 34. I thought she looked... The stock they filmed this on isn't very flattering to some
No,
of
I
these
thought she
actors.
looked 40 at least.
I thought she looked well into her 40s.
Yeah.
But when I looked it up, she's actually 34 at this point, 1974.
I can tell you what color her eyes are.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks a bit slightly younger. And Logan starts to try and convince her that he's out to help her. And no. Do you recognize this? All he's basically doing is he's like any good cop. He's just working a lead. He's just trying to get some information to help him with his mission. So he's like, do you recognize that symbol around her neck? And she went like, no. So she hasn't really got much clue. Not all runners know about Sanctuary. Not all people are privy to that information. Obviously, there's something a bit more underground too. There's like a society, isn't there? It's like a secret, a bit like the Freemasons. So Logan shows her the Onk symbol, and she's like, I ain't got a clue, mate. I had no idea. So anyway, as Logan and Jessica move on, Francis has followed them. He's located, obviously, where Logan is because they can locate each other because of the life clocks, which I thought In Time stole the idea from. You know, the Justin Timberlake movie. So they all had life clocks in that.
He was in a movie?
Yeah, don't remind us. Still trying to forget it. So Francis does the right thing, being a Sandman, and takes this chick out. He does it in style too. And I got to admit, these guns are fantastic. Some kind, generous person sent me the plans for one of these guns.
Oh, nice.
I wonder if that could be Istophobos. It is.
Yeah, I had a working model that used calcium carbide and water to create acetylene. It wasn't the safest movie prop you could have. On the set, they used butane. And they had, it was unreliable, and they had several accidents. Nothing tragic, but there were definitely some burns among the stunt people.
Yeah, a glow plug and a 9-volt battery. But Lara Lindsay looks older than 34 here.
Yep.
I'm definitely hearing mutton, not lamb. So Francis takes her out.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, we have a saying over here when you go to a bar or a nightclub and you see some really desperate old lady dressed as a 20-year-old. We call that mutton dressed as lamb.
Wow.
The more you know.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's two Englishisms for you tonight. Jammy bastard and mutton dressed as lamb. There we go. You'll get a good education. I'll be giving you recipes for Yorkshire pudding next, don't worry. So Francis takes her out and asks for a cleanup crew, which involves that predator mist. And then, Francis gets to privy to what these two are talking about. And they decide to hop into a transport tube, which I kind of like the Space 1991 ones better than these.
Oh, the travel tubes? Yeah.
And their tail starts following them too. So they're going to try and kill Logan. And we get to see another vista. This is quite good. They use a bit of overlay here, don't they? Double exposure.
They had 4 matte openings in the set where they could add people.
Which is quite good. I like that. That's clever use of reusing the same stock. So
the set is huge. The buildings are 4 feet high. It's about 6. It's an entire soundstage. It's like 60 feet.
I have got a photo which you kindly sent me, by the way, and I'll stick that on at some point. We'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I like this movie.
So Logan's been convinced to get a new look. So he goes to a new you. And look, it's the Fall Guys missus. Well, I'm not the kind you kiss and tell, but I've been seen before.
Hey, I'm not about to say that she's not great looking, but give me Heather Thomas any day over Farrah.
Yeah, this chick really doesn't float my boat in the slightest, and I'm not gay. It's just that I like brunettes and redheads. That's just me, you know. So anyway, yeah, that's more my cup of tea. Would I do her? Yes. Would I do her? No. Would I have a three-way? No, because that involves Logan, and I'm not that way either. So
No, with the two
and
women,
there's no double
man.
dips. No double dips, and there's no touching ones either. I don't know. That just don't fly in my book. Jenny Agutter, not any day of the week because she's a bit too old for me now. But I'm not. Did I take a picture of this guy? Oh, did I go back one? No.
The guy
So
that
this
looks
is
like
Doc. Paul
looks like
Rudd.
Liberace.
No. Paul Rudd, before he had his face done. Look at that guy. That is fucking Paul Rudd, I'm telling you. Like Keanu Reeves is 200-300 years old, according to internet rumor. But look at this guy. Does that look like Paul Rudd or what?
I always thought Liberace, man. Maybe it's just this shiny suit.
The shiny outfit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit camp. It's a bit space. It's a bit lost in space for my liking. If he was going to get his schlong out, the only thing I'd have in the back of my mind is hearing a voice going, "Never fear, Smith is here." I think Dr. Smith liked the penis.
I think they used some of the materials from Westworld. I mean, even though this cost $8 million, man, they saved a lot of money. They used and reused stuff and found live locations. And I think Westworld and Soylent Green, those were the movies that convinced MGM that this was viable, and they put it back into production. And I think they used some of the costumes from there.
Just as a quick aside, thinking about Westworld, what did anybody think to the sequel, Future World, with Peter Fonda?
I liked. Well, I didn't care for the ending, but I like both films. I saw them both as a kid.
Oh, come on! He flipped him the bird.
That's so Peter Fonda. It's like, really? I mean, even as a kid, I'm like
the scientist. The way he loses his shit, and he like.
Well, he does lose his shit, yes. But I like both films. I mean, when they're on, because I don't have them on Blu-ray, that's one of those films I'll stop and watch. Either of them. I mean, with Yul Brynner and Westworld, man, that's just
Yeah. I loved Future World when it came out, but I think Westworld has held up a lot better.
Oh, yes. Definitely. Consider, was that 1973? Was it 73?
Yeah, I think it's before this film.
Yeah, 3 years before this. So anyway, Doc is given orders to kill Logan, and he tries with his laser scalpels because you can have your face done. It doesn't hurt. And just as he's about to shoot him, he shoots his freeze dildo at him. And it freezes his gun out of his hand. Paul Rudd, before he had his face done and came back 25 years later.
Are you trying to give me the cold shoulder?
Don't stick me in the cooler.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, I have been known to do a good Arnie. We'll leave it there. So Doc gets a taste of his own medicine, and he ends up with not a new face, but he gets that fresh new barbecue smell. He smells like a blacktop. So Francis tries to stop him and make him come to his senses because he just can't get over that his best friend would do this. He's basically just shit on everything he knows. And Francis he just can't get it through his head. So anyway,
when he confronts him, he tells him point blank, "Hey man, I saw you let that runner go."
And he's like, "Come on, we all lose the shit from time to time. I'll let it go. Just come back." But he's got to sell this.
Isn't Francis confused that he's running at 4 years left?
Even though they're the same age.
Yeah.
Weird. But then again, it's a plot hole that nobody's going to look into. So Logan's like, "I've got to do this, man. You just leave me the fuck alone." And he clocks him, and he gets knocked out for a little bit. And when he comes to Farrah Fawcett's character, she's crying her eyes out. Doc's dead. Francis is like, "Yeah, so." That is Paul Rudd. He's been to one of Hillary's pizza parties, and he's drunk the gold juice, and he's come back as Paul Rudd.
Logan is still full on fed here. He's undercover, but he's still with the
he's with the program, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
The new you. But isn't that funny? It looks like a dick in the background. I know it's an arrow, but it kind of looks like a dick. Well, that's just the way my mind works. So anyway, Francis starts going after Logan a bit more. And what does he do? He grabs the nearest Mort Goldman-looking pipsqueak he can get his hands on. He's like, "Where is he, man?" I don't know. Give me your lunch money. What? Hey, there's that
dude's
sexy
older than
guy.
30.
Look,
There's
there's
no way
that
that
sexy guy again in the background. Can you see him?
That's the same guy.
In a
He's one
world where
sexy
you can
motherfucker.
get any face you want,
He
what
looks
in
like
the hell
that.
is that guy doing walking around? Whether that's the one he was born with or not.
I don't know. He looks a fucking nebbish to me, to be fair. But anyway, that's just me. So they go into the sex club. Yeah, it's a sex club, a nightclub, just for screwing. And there's that pink mist again. And as soon as they walk through the door, it's like horny juice. And they all start getting mega horny, but they've got to try and keep on track. But Logan's having trouble walking because he's got a stiffy.
But
But luckily,
they show all the nudity too, which is funny. When I saw this in the theater, because I was a kid, my mom took me because I was into science fiction and I had read the book. So she's thinking, "Oh yeah, no, I read the book too. Let's go." Well, there's a few times in this film, obviously, that she's covering my my eyes. It's like, no, you're a little young to be seeing this.
Yeah.
And I just distinctly remember that, and then watching it again, I'm like, yeah, my mom covering my eyes in the theater.
Really? Oh, that is the epitome of embarrassment, dude.
Well, it was a PG movie back in 1976 in the United States, so you wouldn't get that rating today with the amount of nudity that's in this film.
No. But interestingly enough, Jessica takes Logan through her back door.
Now, they didn't show all the nudity because tragically there were a bunch of scenes from here that were also cut.
Oh my
They were cut
God.
like 4 minutes of scenes. Yeah.
I'm not being gross and dirty or anything, but somebody's going down on some muff there on the left-hand side.
Do I get my 4 minutes of orgy back?
Nope. No. Once you paid at the door, that's it. No refunds.
There ought to be a law for archiving deleted scenes from movies, man. We have lost way too much history.
Well, I think in this case of this film, MGM, a lot of the scenes that were cut were lost. I know, like the Blu-ray I have, I don't think it even has all the deleted scenes, but like MGM, when they were selling stuff, some of the stuff was like lost, and the other stuff they just simply destroyed, which is amazing with the reuse of sets. Like Estefobos was talking about earlier with Mork and Mindy, MGM had a propensity to reuse things. So why would you ever toss anything? You might need it.
I'll tell you why.
Will you?
Some arsehole in a suit said, "Look, if we get rid of all that shit, we've cleared a bunch of space." Instead of thinking long term, not playing the long game by keeping that stock around. And they didn't know DVD and Blu-ray was going to come around, did they? So they shot themselves in the foot. So some guy thinking he was being a smart bastard did, cinema aficionados like us guys out of some good extra cutscenes and whatnot. So anyway, Francis gets to see Logan going through Jessica's back door. And this leads down to a really long, windy staircase. Francis gets there and it's like, what the fuck? Where'd they gone? Where'd they gone? Hey? So he knows something, there's something a bit fishy going off. So Logan's like, where are you taking me? It's like, don't worry. You know as much as I do. And they get took down to this lower level and the lights are on and there's pain sticks. And it's like, oh yeah, don't worry. He's being serious. He's being legit. And there's another film springs to mind really, really shortly. So once Jessica and Logan manage to sell the story, Farrah Fawcett's character comes down and she's saying, oh, Doc's dead and this guy did it. And then they convince her that she's in the wrong.
Oh, right before this, because you don't have a slide for it, Logan activates that device on the side of his hip. So he's still playing the undercover.
Oh, yeah.
And alerts the rest of the Sandman to find them.
I didn't want to give that away.
Oh,
dude. Minus 2 points for Gamer.
Oh,
is it the other movie you're thinking of? Is it Braveheart?
Oh, yeah. Is it who?
Braveheart.
No.
I know.
So anyway, Holly is convinced by Jessica and whatnot that he was actually a good guy. Then boom, total recall at the Quarto scene. That's what sprung to mind here.
Oh, yeah.
And also the hotel scene, where Dr. Edgemar's trying to convince Quaid that he's in a schizoid embolism.
Oh.
It's very reminiscent. I mean, Hollywood reuses everything to fuck anyway, so we all know that. So anyway, it's all chaos. Logan and Jessica get out the way. And there's Francis. He's going to get some. because he wants Logan. Holly, unfortunately, she needs a new life as well as a new face. She's dead. And then there's this great scene here, which reminded me of RoboCop in the drug factory scene, where Sal gets shot by his own bodyguard. Logan fires his weapon, and he shoots this guy, and he goes flying back. He goes a good 15, 20 feet backwards, which was a good special effect. This would have been a practical stunt effect back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this guy really sells it. He probably ended up in a wheelchair the way he threw himself back.
Yeah, for the TV show, they nerfed the guns. They no longer worked that way.
Yeah, what's the point? They might as well have just not fucking bothered, full stop.
Yeah, they shot little pellets that stunned.
Yeah, look, hot on the trail of Logan, Francis, he's gone nuts. He just cannot handle that his friend's gone rogue. Logan's selling it that well, his own best friend doesn't know.
But doesn't he know who sent the signal to have them follow?
I don't know. I think that would have just gone to the computer. The computer would have just made it look convenient. I think it's all...
Because I think Francis was already trailing him. I think the other Sandman showed up because of the locator. Francis was already following Logan.
Yeah, that computer's a real bitch.
Yeah. Just like, it's funny, all computers in science fiction films that are all nasty pieces of work, they're all given the gender of a female, like Mother in Alien. She's a nasty piece of work too. Special Order 937. Science officers' eyes only. Crew expendable. So they run through these tunnels. They get basically told to run where the long pipes are. And then, isn't this funny to say this is all in like an underground thing? There's a flat screen TV embedded in a wall saying, place your onk here to get through this door. And like any chick in any movie in a stressful situation, she drops the ball. She's taking it off her necklace, drops the ball literally straight into the water. And she's like, oh, shit. And Logan's like, it's okay. I've got another one. I took one off that other guy earlier because he had to keep it, didn't he? Because the computer told him to keep it. So they get through, and this is like Aliens, where Ripley and Hicks get in the elevator on the basement level. And then they're like pressing the button, but there's nothing happening. And then when the door shuts, the alien comes through. This is very reminiscent to that. So a lot of filmmakers at that time have ingested how well these films were made back in the day. And whether it be conscious or subconscious, they've managed to incorporate it into their own productions as well. So Francis is coming for him, and then he gets locked out, and then the message comes back on the screen. In the meantime, these guys are the other side of the door. And I love how Francis notices that there's an onk in the water. How convenient. And have you noticed this? These are like breeding areas for fish and stuff. And they're the biggest goldfish I've ever seen in my life.
What level does your contrivance radar ping at that little scene with the onk?
It's all a plot point and a plot device and convenience. It's all to keep that pacing and that sort of the how can I put it, the perilous edge, they're being chased.
I think it would bother me more today than it did at the time.
Yeah, because it'd be far too convenient.
Yeah.
There's some pretty big goldfish.
A lot of these where they're running in, where you saw the pipes and everything, they filmed that in California. You were talking about California earlier.
Yeah.
Apparently, they shot it at a sewage treatment plant.
Well, shit happens.
I mean, but it's a pretty good practical effect. It's finding a place like that. You always wonder when they, running stairs and where are they doing all this? And that's apparently where they shot it. That's how you save money. I mean, like we were talking about $8 million. You don't have to do CGI. You can actually go find a practical location to fit the needs of your story.
Gavin Blackburn says every film can stand one plot convenience. True?
Yeah.
So anyway, I love this bit because Jessica's hair is incredibly wet, and she really does look sexy with wet hair. So anyway, Francis manages to get through the door, obviously, because he found an onk. I still can't get over how stupid that word is, but hey ho. He takes a shot at Logan, obviously misses, and hits the glass separating them and the underground water. I bet that smelt nice. And again, Jenny Agutter's got, it's funny, look, her hair's dry there, completely dry. back a couple of slides, it's wet. So she gets to have wet hair again, and Logan manages to get through this door. She loves being moist. But anyhow, it's the future. What's not to love about being moist? Logan manages to get through it. Surely all that area would have completely flooded. How did Francis get through there without
That
drowning?
was my question rewatching it, is if that's flooded, how did he get around all of this?
Oh, yes. Plus that elevator was up at the top, so, you know. So Logan and Jessica get onto this elevator, which takes them up. Which kind of reminded me of that. Just hold on a sec, Esther. I'll get to you in just a second. Which kind of reminded me of that really bad, shitty scene at the end of Alien Romulus. Anyway, Esther Phobos, you were saying, matey.
They did their own stunts for that. Michael York and
Really?
Jenny Agutter. Yes, and nobody got injured, but he said it was quite the frightening experience.
Well, if you're going to sell it, you're an actor. You've got to actually genuinely look afraid to sell it. As they go up this elevator shaft, they start getting a bit cold and a bit weary. And there's a reason for that. They seem to be in like a subarctic zone where there's a permafrost. Let's get abreast of the situation. Hey, our first official tit on the channel in 6 months. It's taken this long to get abreast of things. Now, they're quite nice Chucky eggs. Everybody's gone quiet. No masturbating, please. And we get a nice butt shot, too. I'm not so bothered about looking at Michael York, but definitely Jenny Agutter. This is Roscoe Lee Brown's character, Box. He's not a robot. He's not a human. He's somewhere in between. And he's actually in there, acting.
I was going to say, speaking of Box, you couldn't really name them.
Unfortunately, we didn't see any Box in the movie.
Mm.
Z3PO says boobs. Boobs. Minimum says booba. And the fish, plankton, things of the sea, which contrives things yet again about the location of where these domes are. Because if this is quite close to the sea, you know, Appalachia and the sea, you wouldn't necessarily associate the two. Or would you? I don't know.
They never really give you...
Not Delaware.
What did you say,
really...
Gamer?
I was thinking it can't be Delaware. Well, I shouldn't say it can't be. But my impression is when they leave the Dome City and they start walking to D.C., they're walking north. That's why I said that I dismissed Delaware, that it's got to be Virginia, because they don't walk for days on end, at least in the film.
Well, apparently somebody's worked it all out. There was 9 days walking, and I don't think
Oh, really?
so. Yeah.
In the book or in the movie?
Actually, no, 10. Between them leaving the city and returning, it's 10 days.
Oh, okay.
Well, don't forget on the return trip, they've got the old guy with them, so that would have taken them even longer.
That's true.
But,
aren't they in L.A. in the book?
I tried to look at it in terms of the way they came into Washington, D.C. So they approached the monument, Washington Monument, from the pool, that stretch of water bit. So that means they've come from the Chesapeake. So, you know, it doesn't tell you how they got across there, or is that dry riverbed at that stage?
It could be Lexington Park. Annapolis is north, so they would have had to
I thought
travel,
that too.
So,
yeah.
But it could be Lexington Park, which is southeast of D.C., or more likely, they didn't put that amount of thought into it.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of them things where you've just got to let it slip.
Yeah.
So anyway, all these runners, these 1,059 runners unaccounted for, if you think about it, they've all ended up in deep freeze. Box has got them and froze them. I've just had a quick message saying we might get hit by the tit. YouTube might not like the titties.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's all in context, YouTube. Algorithm, let this one slide. I'll give you a reach around. Anyway, all these people would have escaped. They've been frozen by Box, stored as food for later.
Do you know what the actors are? Those are actual actors. They're standing there. Those aren't...
they're not dummies.
They are painted white, and they had to keep completely motionless because this was filmed in L.A. It's really hot.
Correct. Yeah.
So. Well, you see, there's a silver lining, really. So Logan takes on Box. Box is quite strong. Obviously, he's some kind of android, I guess. Jessica's doing what she does best. Fuck all. Apart from looking like a girl, and Logan accidentally shoots his birds. He's got all these little ice sculptures of birds and
My
whatnot.
birds, my birds.
And he starts bringing the house down. Boxer's shitted at this point.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little escape hatch in the rock. And they go out on this ledge. And what do they see? This big thing up in the sky. It's warm. They've never seen it before. They don't know what it is. It's the sun. You'd have
That's
to be
crazy.
some kind of special to not know it's the sun, you dipshits.
They don't know what a sun is.
I don't know what it is, but it's warm.
In the book, it takes place in LA, so it's definitely not a 10-day walk to Washington, D.C.
Definitely. Yeah, like I say, it's all a plot of convenience again. And I like how they've done this to tie in with the location shoots, where there's a natural waterfall on a cliff edge like that. But if you look back, it looks quite an extensive mountain range. Like, is that the Appalachian Mountains? Do we know? So anyway, Box is totally shitted. He's off warranty now completely. Francis has managed to catch up again. How did he get through that bulkhead with all that water behind it? There must have been thousands of tons of water pressure behind that door, not to mention that it was completely submerged.
There are 2 places on the Potomac that have waterfalls. There's Great Falls Park and Shenandoah. I think it's Shenandoah National Park. But again, I mentioned LA in the book as it would be no help in locating this. But
yeah,
so
Francis is growing more and more neurotic.
Falls.
Yeah, so Francis is seeing this and he can't figure out what it is either. So this is an interesting scene. I like this bit. They finally get to take a sit down and a rest. And this lucky lizard. Oh, I've never wanted to be a reptile so bad. He goes for a little jaunt and she's not too chipper about this. She loses her shit and she freaks out. I hate the outside. But if you notice something, the more that Jessica feels like she's threatened and in danger, the more she realizes she starts being a typical girl and starts relying on Logan a lot more. Like at this bit here, I'm cold. It's okay, baby. Come and cuddle up to me, and
Trev, that's just because you've been brainwashed by the patriarchy. That's not real.
Don't start any of that shit on this channel. You'll be out in your ear. That's another British saying. You'll be out on your ear. Means get chucked out. They find this nice stretch of water the next day, and they jump in and start frolicking about. But if you notice, this is quite a pivotal scene in the movie because when they start frolicking, they start to realize, Logan starts to realize after they realize the life clocks are now useless outside the city. Jenny Agutter's got another excuse to have wet hair. But it's at this point where, they start flirting with each other and in a real serious way. Jennifer Agutter looks so cute in this scene. Or is it just me being a perv?
I think this is where Logan resigns his commission as Sandman.
He does, because he realizes at this point that he's fallen for Jessica. And they start to develop love. Whether it's that primal instinct, you're having to fend for yourself in the wild. And it's making that bond a bit stronger because she's realizing she needs him more than he needs her at this point.
For what it's worth, that really looks like Great Falls National Park outside of DC. So
yeah,
may do.
It would explain why they'd be on the other side of the Potomac. Trev's question on how they would be on the side where Washington D.C. is because they were upstream from it, so they were already on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. That dry riverbed might have been the Potomac. Who knows in the future? I don't know.
No, the old man refers to it as a road.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good catch. I missed that.
Yeah. But Jessica, like I said, she becomes less and less looking kempt, and she becomes a bit more robust and rugged out in the real world. And that innocence is starting to drop away a little bit.
Do you know who Caroline Munro is?
No.
She is an Italian B-movie science fiction actress.
I bet I do now you said that.
Star Crash. Anyway, she in that last slide, she was the spitting image of Caroline Munro there.
Nice. I think I know what you mean now. So this is what I was saying about, coming across the Potomac. They would have had to come a certain way across to get to that particular location. And then you can see Capitol Hill in the background as well there in the... That's the Clinton Monument in the future, apparently.
It's a great scene because how the wild would take over a city. It would return to what Washington D.C. was before they built it, a marsh.
Well, according to Form, this is 198 years after the cataclysm, the catastrophe, or whatever you want to call it. Because this is set in 2274.
That would be about right, because you will see how the growth of there you are with the Lincoln Memorial and even the Capitol, how it's all overgrown.
Yeah, in the book it was 2126.
Oh yeah, so obviously changed again to suit the more can I put it, the more make it less science fiction for the normies. They have to make it normie safe, don't they?
Yeah, these matte paintings they still hold up. The film still looks excellent even when you watch it today.
Do you know what I like about this scene the most? It's not retconned into a fucking ape.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
Oh yeah, I hate that scene.
Yeah, me too.
I thought you were gonna say there's no tourists circling around him taking pictures.
Yeah, Honest Abe, as you guys call him, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought it was George Washington who was honest because he couldn't tell a lie. Unusual for a politician.
Well,
anyway, moving swiftly on before we go down that tangent. So anyway, they're looking quite bemused at this. It's like, well, what the hell's this then? And obviously they've got no record of the past. And then it's funny this because it looks almost like Capitol Hill was directly behind the monument, but they seem to enter an urban zone beforehand.
Well, there's residential areas in DC.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I'm just
okay.
I'm just saying the way where the scenes are set up earlier in the in this particular act of the film, they find it quite amusing. What beloved husband and father and wife, and what does that mean? Because of the carousel, they don't know what death is. The whole aspect of death has been erased from their worldview, which is crazy, really.
They don't know what any of this stuff. They just jumped off of the cliff into the water without even checking. You know, that's not really a safe thing to do if you don't check out the water first. They kind of grew up in this naive, safe, controlled environment.
So just going back a scene, is that Congress then, or is...
That's the Capitol steps.
Right, Capitol steps. So as they enter this building, they hear, obviously, noise in the background. And here's the scary pussy scene. If the tit shot didn't do it, the scary pussy did.
I like the way they show his natural male instincts after years of growing up in a controlled environment. He starts to still develop those inherent instincts for protection and
it's almost like he's gone full on caveman, isn't it? Really, he's gone back.
Well, it's interesting about this scene and the earlier scene where the graveyard, where they have no concept of death, and like the cat, they have no idea what a cat is. It shows the level of education that they have inside the dome.
But they're all literate.
The wild kids, they don't know about anything.
But they do speak English. Literate. They do read English. So
yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's what's bizarre is they can read, but they're not taught anything. You would think something simple like a cat, like before the dome, there were these things, so you would know what a cat or a cow is or something. They have no concept of any of this.
Yeah,
it's almost like they're 8th graders in adult bodies.
They get the Kama Sutra and then they get the rules.
Yeah. So anyway, they walk into this library area and they meet the old man played by Peter Ustinov. So a guy I never really liked. I always felt he came across a bit sketchy. Maybe it's because I grew up during the Cold War, but that's it was just me. They both look at him. They're both completely bemused about this guy. He's just an old man. They've never seen anybody above 30.
He is a 100-year-old man, which Peter Ustinov was not thrilled about being cast as.
I guess not. But another scene where Jenny Agutter just looks like you want to make her your cum dump for at least a week. Anyway, moving swiftly on, another strike.
I haven't seen her look bad yet, man. She's
true.
Yeah,
a goddess.
So the showing of this old man the life clocks, and he's like, "Well, I don't know how old I am. I guess I'm as old as I am." He's very philosophical, but he's absolutely uneducated. Mind you, he might be able to. He's surrounded by books and art, so maybe he can read. But Jessica starts reading a book, and she's quite into it. So yet again, they're educated to a certain degree. And then
I want to give a
Francis,
shout out.
yeah,
I want to give a shout out to everyone's acting here. They really pull it off. The old man who's never hasn't seen anybody in decades, and these two naive young cubs coming in. They're talking about mothers, fathers, childbirth, all history, and they really sell it. It's a fantastic performance.
Paul Dickinson in the chat says, how many happy tissues will you have tonight? None. I don't do that kind of thing. I don't want to go blind. Hello to Atom Gray, who's joined us. Wayfarer's in the chat too. We'll have another round of catch-ups with the chat a little bit later on. But I just want to crack on with this film because it is so good. It's one of my favourites. But Francis has magically caught up with them again. How did he know which way they went?
Apparently he's a tracker too, even though you would have no experience doing that inside a dome, but whatever.
Yeah. So he grabs hold of Jessica. And Logan starts looking for her. And then all of a sudden she's in the upper deck. And this is the bizarrest fight scene in any film I've seen for a long time. It makes They Live look like a bit of a spat, but there's more to it than that. So Logan's getting a bit naffed off that he's got his chick. And Francis just cannot. He's just so driven over the edge by Logan's betrayal. He just can't process it.
Yeah, he's completely detached from his environment. He's not looking around, seeing what's happening.
No, he doesn't give a shit. He wants it. He wants his. He doesn't like any deviation to the world he's grown up in. His entire world's been shattered, but I don't think he can process it. This is how he's dealing with it. He's just in denial.
Yeah, and he's selling that psychotic break. Look at his eyes, man. He
looks a crazy son of a bitch.
Jordan does a really great job, just like driving off the cliff here in this scene.
Yeah, pretty much. So they have a bit of a everything you've grown up with, it's all bullshit, mate. And he's like, no, I'm not having that. He says, look at your life clock, and he looks at it, and he's still not buying it. Look at him, he just cannot. Brain says no.
Yeah, it's all a lie. You know.
Before they start tearing up the set, do you know where they filmed this part?
Go on.
This is the set of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
A film I've never heard of or seen.
It's a Jimmy Stewart movie.
Yeah, it's pretty well known over here in the colonies.
In the colonies, yes. But that's quite a jump.
I don't know how he doesn't break his legs doing that jump. I mean, I've been to the Capitol gallery like that. That is not a... I mean, that's every bit the jump there. That's got to be, what, 25 feet?
Yeah, I'm going to say at least 20. So anyway, Logan and Francis start battling royale. Jessica's getting quite turned on at this point. And, Francis is quite a mean bastard, really. He's taking no prisoners. And in a twist of irony, he's getting the US flag and he's wanted to kill Logan with it. But it kind of backfires because after this chokey scene, Logan flips him over a desk and then hits him again and basically breaks his back.
So much for taking Logan back to face justice.
And then Logan's just like, I can't believe I just killed my best friend. And he says, Logan, you renewed. That's how fucking delusional he is. Maybe it's the lack of oxygen and the partial brain death and paralysis. But Francis, he's toast. So they convince the old man to come back with them. They start on a bit of a trek back. And, Jessica and Logan, they're sort of affirming that love, what's brewing. It's like they've been out of the city and human nature's starting to it's taking over, really, isn't it? So they convince the old man to come back with them. And they start on a bit of a fantastic journey back the way they came. And there you go. Night before, they see these the domes, and yet again, it's like they've come over the mountains, and then they've arrived at wherever this is, whether it be Delaware or wherever.
I'm going with Great Falls, Maryland,
and you are welcome to do that. And Jessica looking quite